Hello again. I'm slowly putting together video clips of what I do with my cabochons so that I can show you some of my tips and tricks, particularly as I am on a tight budget and really can't afford too many mistakes with the jewellery at the cabochons and the bezel trays. And of course, one of the biggest challenges I have been having is trying to avoid the silver spots on my cabochons. And back in video number 15, I showed you how to glue in cabochons with on a skin with this one rather than dipping. And unfortunately, when I had finished it, as you can see, I got quite a lot of the silver showing up, particularly the background of the cabochon itself, which I was very disappointed with, as I loved that particular transfer on the painting skin. So I am going to throw it into this water. I have been throwing quite a few cabochons into water lately in their bezel trays to see if I can unstick them, and I have been having some success. But I have found, depending on the glue I have used, it takes quite a while. So I've got two more here which also have the silver on them quite badly. And rather than just donating them to charity, as I had started doing, I am soaking them in water for as long as it takes. The last ones I did, my first experimental ones, were 7 days. Although, again, I have ones that I have done using, instead of using the glaze glue, I have used PVA glue instead. I've found it's been working a lot better. I'm getting less silver spots, but I have some on this one which is rather pretty, and I was very disappointed in the spots that came out on it. So that one is going in the water. Here is another one also with those spots, which was done with PVA glue. And this one here also with spots from using PVA glue. So I'm going to leave them to soak in the water now, and over the next several days, a week or even longer, I'm going to remove those cabochons from the bezel trays, and you can see how I do it. Right, well, first of all, I will show you the pendants that I am not so happy with. This one, when I first put the transfers on it and then dipped it in the paint, I was excited about it. It was so pretty. But as you can see, once it dried, it had a lot of silver on it, which just detracts from the overall attractiveness of the pendant. And of course the same with that one, but a different problem as well. I don't know if you can see that, but I had the honeycomb effect of the base of the bezel tray actually showing through on the pendant. So again, can't use that one. And another one here where I did a zip one. I was so pleased with the colours, but when it dried, again, just too much of the silver around the pendant to make it worthwhile keeping. So eventually I will pop all those into water to remove the cabochon. Then I've got the ones that I call passable. That is very pretty to me, very pretty pendant. There is a little amount of silver on there that you can see, but for some reason or other it has managed to go around the edges of the flower and the base, and seems to sort of merge in so that the cabochon itself does look really pretty without the silver being a major problem. And the same with this one. Loved my cat when I put him in. Oh, nearly tipped my camera. Got some lovely silver underneath him to look like he is ethereal, but also unfortunately got a little bit of silver down the side of his face there, and because of that it detracts from the pendant, but for me not enough to make it worthwhile to start again on that one, so it will be kept. And now for the ones that I was quite pleased with. Fortunately, the ones that have got a little bit of silver on them were originally dipped in a metallic paint anyway, so it's very hard to see whether or not it is silver from the glue or from the actual paint. This one, there's a little there, but that is actually metallic paint. But over here, that I can't remember that being metallic, but it certainly looks more metallic than being silver spots. So overall that pendant has come out very, very well. And the same with this one. It's been done on a metallic silver background. So the birds look absolutely beautiful there. I call this one Dawn Chorus. The first ray, well, not rays of the sun, but the first light of dawn for me coming through, and the birds look beautiful on that. Then we've got one of the spider ones that I love to do. I love the spider web ones. A few silver dots under the spider there, and a couple of silver dots on the side of the web, but overall you really can't notice it, and the spider looks lovely. Now those previous three pendants I have just shown you were all done over 2 weeks ago. I like to wait at least a week, sometimes longer, because it's amazing sometimes how long it takes before you actually start to see those silver dots. Then I've got this one. Oh, I just think it's delightful. I call it Underwater Treasures. That was done as a dip, and as you can see, really nothing in the way of silver showing, but a good coloured pendant, and one of the best probably that I have been able to glue. Now I'm going to show you one that I have only just done. That was glued in yesterday. Just a gorgeous pendant. I really love it. It also has a metallic background for the dip. So you've got the flower and you've got some greenery, but then you've got silver metallic dip with black behind it. So I have high hopes for that, but I will come back at a later date and show you that one and see how it's actually turned out, along with some others that I am either doing for this video or have recently done. So I'm going to show you now how I actually glue the cabochons into bezel trays with PVA glue. In this case I've got Renault Art, which I bought at a cheap variety store here in New Plymouth, New Zealand, and it cost me the grand sum of $2, and it's working very well for me so far. I also have a nail polish which I will be coating on the back of my cabochons. This one is a dark green colour, and the brand is Sally Hansen, which is a very popular brand here in New Zealand and I believe in many parts of the world. I have a nail file for a bit of scraping, a couple of cotton buds, and a tissue for wiping. So the first cabochon I am going to show you is this one here, which I did only last week. I haven't prepared it yet, so I'm going to show you what I do with my nail file, and I also use my fingernails. But I get the excess paint off the edge of the cabochon. Sometimes I will use my knife as well. I forgot to show you this. It is my paring knife. It needs a good clean really, but it does me well for this sort of thing. And sometimes I will sit in front of television of an evening with my cabochons that I have dipped in paint, and I will get all the excess paint off with either my paring knife or my fingernails or my nail file, depending on what I need to use. That is now ready for me to coat with nail polish. And when I'm coating it with polish, okay, that was fun. Ah, that's better. Better hope that it doesn't fall out. Okay, you live and you learn all the time. When I coat these with nail polish, I give them a good cover. And of course I'm doing this because I want to try and make the surface of the paint a little more water resistant once it's been put into the bezel tray. So it's just a quick and easy coat of polish, doesn't have to be perfect. And I will leave that now to dry. It doesn't take long, of course, as you know, with nail polish. Most of them are quick drying, but I need to leave it for at least 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours, to be absolutely sure that it's completely dried with the paint. And here I have another cabochon, which I also did several days ago, and I have already cleaned it ready for putting polish on. It's not a great job, but what I usually do is I will go back over the cabochon and check it with a small LED flashlight to make sure that all the little bits of paint have been properly removed. Okay, so I am going to coat this one now with the same colour polish, having the greens and dropsy fingers, having the greens of course in this cabochon, and I have just noticed also a slight little silver dot on there. I'm assuming naturally from the paint dip, so possibly from an air bubble which was trapped in it, but not a problem. Those do not worry me. So I will now coat this one with nail polish. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just a complete coat with the polish to give it a bit of water resistance, particularly as I am using the PVA glue and I want to avoid the paint being dampened by the glue. Okay, that will do the job now, and I will pop that also aside to dry. Hello again. Today I am going to put a cabochon which has already been polished on the back into a bezel tray. This one is a dolphin. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but there is a dolphin there swimming above a seashell. Underwater is just beautiful, and there are hints of metallic in there. I had metallic gold in the paint. So I'm going to put that into this bezel tray, which looks dreadful, I know, but that was one that I removed a cabochon from last week, and that is how the base of the tray looked after I had done that. So this will be an experiment for me to see how well the bezel trays take to another cabochon. So I am going to get my PVA glue, and I am going to put a dot of it into the middle of my cabochon. And I have a small spreader tool that I was using for resin to mix and have now taken to use to do my cabochon jewellery. I haven't really gone down the road of using resin yet, as I still have so much to learn from paint pouring as well as doing the jewellery. So I'm gently spreading that out. I don't want too many air bubbles, and I can see some already. So I'm gently spreading that out across the base of the bezel tray. I thought about putting it onto the cabochon itself, but still find it easier to do it this way, and I feel more confident spreading it out across the tray rather than the cabochon. Right, that will do. It's certainly by no means perfect, but the bottom of my tray is now covered, and I will just wipe off my spreader with the tissue. Okay, and time to place the cabochon in there. I don't need to have it exactly how I want it, because of course I will be able to move the cabochon around on the tray to get it right, but I do like to drop it in as squarely as possible. There we are. Yes, I think, no, I would like it to be a little further around that way, I think, so that the dolphin is actually slightly to the left. Now, as you can see, I'm not pressing it down. I'm just leaving it there. I like to believe there's no air under there. I will put a light tap on it, but in the past I have pressed down very, very firmly. I'm just wiggling that round a little. I've pressed down very, very firmly in the past and found that it doesn't matter. Even if I do that, it doesn't work. But since starting to use PVA glue, I have found if I just gently place the cabochon into the tray, it seems to work out a lot better for me. It's not foolproof, believe me, as I've shown you with some of my other PVA glued cabochon pendants. I still tend to get silver spots, but I'm having a better success rate this way. So I will just pop that aside now. I will be leaving that to dry, of course, for, well, longer than a week, really, to be sure of no silver spots, but even go back 2 weeks later and have a look, because you can be quite surprised at what you find. Now, I'm doing something today for the first time. I recently decided that I wanted to try some snap button jewellery. So I bought myself some 18mm snaps, and I have got a 16mm cabochon, which I have a small musical note on it, and I have got some paint dipped behind it. And I have also put nail polish on the back of this to protect it. And because it has a dome piece on it, this is going to be a complete experiment for me, because I'm not going to fill up the inside of the dome with glue. I'm going to attach it to one of my blue tack sticks that I use for dipping the cabochons in paint, and I am going to glue it from there. So I think just a dot around the bottom will be the best thing, since I'm angling it sideways, trying not to move my camera too much. A nice smile on there. I'll just get a cotton bud to take off that excess glue from there. Alright, now I will get my spreader, use the thin tip edge and just move that glue around inside the bezel tray. As I said, this is a first timer for me, so not only will I be interested to see how well it glues, but I will also be interested to see how well it goes with not having any glue down the middle of it, which I have watched other YouTubers doing this, and they do not put any glue down the centre. Okay, let's keep spreading. I can see a couple of bubbles as well, and I'm always leery of bubbles because I worry that that is what is going to cause the silver spots. So far, I know there are probably YouTubers out there, jewellery artists also, who know the secrets of avoiding silver spots completely, but as of yet nobody has shared it with us. So for me it's always just trial and error. Okay, that will do. Wipe off my spreader and get my cabochon to pop into. I can put it in any way I like because it is a snap button. Wiggle it round a little, make sure it's well in there. Don't want to press it too hard. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Fits beautifully. It's now in place with the glue, so all I have to do is wait and see how well that dries. Well, this is the end of part 1 of my video. As I expected, my videos are taking a long time to put together, using a lot of minutes, so I am splitting them up, and I will be bringing the next part of this video to you within the next few days. So once again, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.